So, Katie, you started HBD almost a year ago. You're coming up to your first anniversary. That's right, isn't it? June.
Yeah. Yeah, 6th of June I started, and I found HBD from one of my friends, Sarah, HBD Sarah Pilates, or HBD Pilates Sarah. There's a few Pilates Sarahs around. So yes, so I found through her, and she, because, I said, well, God, you're looking really good. So I said, what's your secret? Because I need to do something. And she told me to get the book. And so I got the book, read it twice, and never looked back.
That's really great, because I love what you were saying about I asked you what your top pieces of advice would be, or top piece of advice, and you said, never give up.
Yeah. Just never give up on it, because although, you'll go through the phases of the lifestyle, and you will, you'll find your balance through doing the diet by, taking out things, putting them back in, listening to your body. And, it's just about not giving up on that listening and what your body's telling you.
Exactly.
Really.
Body can be quite clear about things, can't it? And I know that you discovered, was it through HBD you discovered that dairy was no good for you?
Yeah, so milk. I can do cheese, but it's really like a cheddar cheese or a Stilton cheese, but I have to do it in smaller doses, although I love cheese. Cheese is one of my favourite foods to eat, but it just doesn't always agree with me, depending on which one I get, I suppose.
Yeah.
But milk is definitely the one that I can't do. Milk gives me eczema.
It gives you definitely not.
Yeah. And before starting HBD, I was full of eczema. Eczema was everywhere, everywhere on my body.
It was bleeding because you were scratching it so much. It was, horrible.
That's it. Sam said to me, if you don't stop itching, I'm going to put mittens on your hands like a baby, and then you can't itch anymore. And so it was like, okay, we really need to do something about this.
Sam, for anybody who doesn't know, if there are any newbies, is your fiance, and you've known each other for 6 years. Is that right?
Yes.
And you married in July, which is so exciting.
Yes. So we're getting married next year, and so that's all exciting. And we kind of made a bit of a funny pact that if I lost down to 9 stone 6, he'd get engaged to me. Although I haven't got down to 9 stone 6. We managed to get engaged before that. So that was the joke. That was always a spur on to get me to lose some more weight.
I still want to be 9 stone 6.
I would like to be 9 stone 6. I'm currently hovering around 9-10 at the minute.
Oh.
9-10, 10 stone between the two. I'm quite happy where I am at the moment. I think I'm a healthy weight for me. I'm 5'7", 5'2", 7. Bloody hell, I'm putting on inches here. 5. Oh God, I can't talk now. I'm having one of them days today. I'm 5'2", and so I've always been overweight. And when I started, I was just over 12 stone.
God, you've done so well, Katie. I didn't realise. That is fantastic. Really, really.
Thank you.
And then you said that you were quite a chubby little baby and a child because you had all those horrible antibiotics.
Yes, I was quite a chunky monkey when I was a little girl, but I was always poorly. Respiratory issues, chest infections, bad eczema. Of course, I had my nut allergy. That's a big word. So I was allergic to all nuts when I was little. And then obviously following doing HBD has actually cured my nut allergy to a certain degree, and I'm no longer allergic to any nuts apart from peanuts. I'm still allergic to.
That's so cool. It's so exciting. We talked about that because to cover themselves, lots of food manufacturers say, this factory, uses peanuts or dairy or whatever in manufacturing things, which is really sad. But I think that Lara's got a nut company. I can't remember what it's called. And I think that they just do walnuts. So fingers crossed for that. Yeah.
That's it. I'm just hoping that perhaps Lara might be able to tell me who she orders from and if they may contain traces of peanuts on there.
Gigi,
because that would...
You're here, my darling. I wonder if you know what that nut company is. Thank you so much for joining. Lovely HBD Gigi's here. I don't think Lara is, because I think she's travelling, but I might be wrong. But I can see Victor.
That actually earlier that she's in the USA. Actually, I'm very jealous. I'm not going to lie. I like America.
Well, I hope you'll come and see us soon. Yeah, they're putting the water in the pool tomorrow, I think. But then they said we can't swim in it because it'd be full of chemicals for 2 weeks. Anyway,
That's
yeah, it's first world problem, as they say. Yeah, nice to be in New York, but I don't know if you can hear all the traffic and crashing and banging and sirens. It's very different from being down in Florida. So, Katie, tell me about you, not about me. I'm going to stop rambling on. Tell me what else you noticed, because you did really good sleuthing into the foods that that were doing you down, which you might not necessarily have known about before HBD.
So I definitely cannot do bread or pasta, or well, I can do pasta to a certain degree. Some places I've had two experiences where in one restaurant it was okay, and then or it wasn't okay, and then at home it wasn't okay. It was okay. So it just depends on where I'm at and if they've put corn flour in it, or when they thicken up sauces, they usually put flour in.
Yeah,
to
they do.
thicken them up, and that just doesn't always agree with me.
Have you got a problem with corn as well, like sweet corn?
Yeah, not. I don't really know because I haven't actually had sweet corn since doing HBD.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, I haven't really had that, to be fair. But I do struggle with bread, and potatoes don't do me very good either.
And do they both get you in the tummy?
Yeah, my stomach blows up like I'm 6 months pregnant. It's quite scary, actually.
Like Cassie had that. Did you see those photographs of her?
Yeah, I did. It's just amazing how much of a difference food can make to your body and how you look.
Yeah. But have you always suffered with IBS, would you say?
Yeah, I've always suffered with a type of IBS, I suppose. I've never had it looked into via doctors because I've never been bothered to, until now in my life now, to cut things out and put them back in.
Yeah.
So cutting things out and putting back in has done me a world of good. And then now I just know what's good for my body. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've all had the odd weekend where we've come off of the lifestyle. And then for me, I soon know about it. My eyes feel puffy, my skin feels puffy, my rings feel tight, whereas normally they're not tight at all. I actually need to get them resized. I think the biggest part is to just listen to your body and realise what it's telling you, because it talks to you all the time.
All the time. That is such good advice and so beautifully put, Katie. Thank you. Yeah, it talks to us all the time. And so often we just say we don't want to hear what it's saying. And because we like eating whatever it is. And I think a lot of people make that mistake at treat meals. They're really good in the week. They're on, phase 3, and then treat meal comes and they just eat all gluten and dairy and sugar, and then spend the next 3 or 4 days recovering and trying to get rid of that water weight. But
That's it. That's it. It's a bugger for putting on the pounds on the scales. That's for sure.
That's it, exactly. Very well put.
Yeah, it is. It is a bugger to put on. You have a treat meal, say per se. Say, for instance, you decided to have a greasy pizza, or I mean, I can't personally do greasy pizzas because it just irritates me so badly that I'm in cramps for the rest of the evening. But you eat something like that and garlic bread, and you might have a little bit of chocolate, and you might have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and for me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I find that within the next 20 minutes, boom.
That is so cool. So you get instant feedback, because sometimes it's hard. It's not until the next day and you wake up and you've got, I don't know, bloating or something's hurting, or eyes are all piggy or whatever. So it's very lucky. Your body is really great to give you that instant feedback. That really helps. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, some people don't know how to deal with that uncomfortableness. So my question would be on, because I've had a lot of people contact me about, I've eaten this and I've eaten that, and it's made me feel really, really uncomfortable. And what do I do about it? Do I just go completely back to phase one and reset? But I know that we shouldn't really reset unless you've been doing it for 6 months at least.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that keeping a food diary can be so helpful because there will be a pattern. But the most common culprits, as you've discovered, are milk and wheat. Those, yeah. And you've also found you've got a problem with potatoes and aubergine, did you say?
Aubergines are okay, but in small doses, which I only have that with if I decide to have chickpea pasta.
Yeah.
And have, I've just seen, HB Gigi has just put, I believe that Walnut Company is raw living. However, I'm not, I thought it said, I read it too quick. And I thought it said it's got no trace of peanuts. I was getting excited then. Sorry.
Oh, they contain traces of peanuts.
It says it's not confident, no trace of peanuts, would need to check with them. I'll have to.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Anyway. Damn, that's really
excited for a second then. I was like, I might be able to have walnuts.
But you've got a walnut farm next door, and I'm such a dimwit. When you were telling me about it the other day, and saying you're going to try them at Christmas, and I was saying, well, why don't you try them before? Because they're not ready until Christmas time, are they? They don't grow ready to eat Christmas.
I'm hopeful that I'm going to go and try. I'm very, very hopeful.
Yeah, that's really, really exciting. I wonder, though, if they know or they could tell you who they sell to, and maybe that way you could find out if it's a walnut place.
Yeah, I'm hoping that my future mother-in-law will be able to give me them details. I didn't get a chance to see her this week, so I'll have to send her a text message and ask her the details of the farm to see who they do sell to.
Yeah.
And then we might be able to Gigi's just put, I'm going to try and source you some walnut detective. That's brilliant. Thank you, Gigi. Much love.
Well, wouldn't that be amazing if you could find safe walnuts and eat them and enjoy them rather than just watching everybody else scoffing them? That would be really, really lovely. Really.
It would be fantastic, considering I've gone 25 years being allergic to them, and now can have them miraculously, which I still can't quite get over. Although I'm still a little bit scared to try them before the wedding, because, I wouldn't fancy dying before the wedding.
Maybe 6 months will be long enough, though, hon. I should think.
Maybe we can hope.
You have to listen to your body and also listen to what your mind's telling you. And if it's telling you wait until after the wedding, yeah. Because if we stop listening to that little voice inside us, it stops talking to us.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's very true. Very true. But no, I do find Jules has just said no, don't, Katie. I'm guessing that's to reference to the eating them before the wedding. But it's just all a trial and error. Although, to be fair, my cleansing balm that I've been using has got almond oil in there, and that's not reacted. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So exciting. Is that the first time you used it, just recently?
Yeah, I've been using it for about 2 weeks now, and it's not reacted. I haven't come out in any spots or any like dry eczema patches, because that can be a reaction to it. So fingers crossed, we might be onto a bit of a winner there.
That's so cool. And as we know, one of the things that HBE does, and I know that you're really interested in the science, because as you said, science and beauty, go hand in hand. You want to know how things work and why things work. And it's because eating normal minimally processed foods has an anti-inflammatory effect on us, as does only eating 3 times a day, not constantly snacking and not eating sugar, and all those things are anti-inflammatory. So it's happened. A few people have had the same experience, not with nuts, because I wasn't sure if it would happen with nuts. And like you said, you still have to avoid peanuts. Nuts were just tagging along, and body's kind of thinking, well, that looks similar to the peanut I know I have a problem with, so I'll attack that too. But eventually, when we take things out and we reduce the inflammation in the body stops reacting in that way, which is what you've experienced, which is so exciting.
That's it. Well, I am the proof of the pudding for you that HPD can cure nut allergies.
Incredible. Unbelievable. And eczema and IBS and asthma, you said you had a problem with too.
Yeah, I've got asthma. I still take my steroid inhaler for twice in the morning, twice at night. But I managed to come completely off of Montelukast. That it was a tablet that you had to take at night time.
Yes.
To help me breathe, and the nasal spray as well. So I've managed to come completely off, and it's just been so much better. I mean, I do feel it when the weather changes and it has a bit of a fluctuate moment where my lungs don't quite want to work the way it should do. It's a work in progress, and at the end of the day, the moisture in the air and the humidity doesn't help sometimes. Yeah. So that's just nature, isn't it?
That's just nature, exactly. And it depends on what's going on with our hormones and our immune system and everything else. So it's a funny thing, but what suited us on Wednesday might not suit us so well on Friday, kind of thing. But as you said, it's a work in progress. We're constantly finding out new things about our bodies, which is quite cool.
That's it. And our bodies are constantly changing. Our cells are regenerating all the time. Yeah. And rejuvenating. And what you feed your body is what your body is going to love you back for.
Yeah. Love you back.
Food is, yeah. If you put into your body something good, it's going to give you good feeling back. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, really.
It is a no-brainer. That was also beautifully put. Thank you so much, Katie. Just a lot of treat meals involve sugar, and sugar makes everybody feel rubbish and makes them look rubbish too. And I wanted to ask you about what you do for treat meals now. What's a treat for you?
Treat meals do differ. So my favourite treat meal, whatever you want to call it, we call it a cheat. So Sam does these amazing. I mean, I don't know if you don't follow Narelle's page, Midlife Real Life, you have to follow her for her chickpea flatbreads. They are amazing. And Sam does the flatbreads. I don't know how he does them. He does them miles better than me. Oh, my best friend's just come on, Stephanie Goodale. She's put hi, Katie. So give her a hi, a wave. She's my bridesmaid when I get married. And but no, he makes these flatbreads and he makes them into a pizza.
Nice.
So we have flatbreads with 10 grams of tomato puree with cheese on top, and pop it in the oven for 10-15 minutes, and it's amazing.
So he's not doing HPD, so that's like a treat meal. Yeah.
Yes. So that's like a phase 4 meal or a treat.
Or a treat. That's fantastic. What a good idea. Love the sound of that.
And
you go out treat meals as well.
We do go out, but I mainly choose salad because I don't want to risk sauces. I don't enjoy risking sauces because it hurts my stomach. So I tend to go for a salad. And that could be a chicken Caesar salad, which might have bacon and chicken in, which for me, that would be a treat because I'm mixing my proteins and perhaps getting fuller from there.
Yeah. So it's more fun for you to stay home, basically.
Yeah, it's more fun to stay at home, and we're quite partial to having perhaps a night in, and we would have some wine or a cider or, Sam likes to go to the shop and pretend he's going to buy me some flowers, but comes back with my favourite cider on a Friday night, ready for Saturday.
Katie, tell us how you and Sam met.
Well, it's a bit of a funny story, that one. My kickboxing club closed, so I needed to find a new place to go and train. And I joined the local boxing club, and we first met, and I walked in, I was all made up in my beauty stuff. I mean, I don't wear my uniforms now because they're too big for me, but I was all glammed up, you know, lipstick on, hair all done, makeup done. And I was like, oh, what time does it start? He went, oh, you're all right, it's got an hour. Quickly took his glasses off. We've got an hour until it starts. I said, oh, okay, cool. I'll go home, get changed and come back. So I went back and we trained in and we decided to go and spar with each other with the pads. But I completely missed the pad and punched him in the face and gave him a bit of a black eye. And so it all went on from there.
It was love at first punch.
It was quite literally. And then it took him about 6 weeks to ask me for my number.
And how many more times have you punched him in the face by
then? Maybe 6.
Oh, you're so lovely, Katie. You really are. I mean, you took the HBD gang by storm when you first started, because your energy is so bubbly and your joy is so infectious. And I'm so glad that you're with us. And the fact is, you're not even 30 and you've discovered all this incredible stuff about your health. You know, you'll never, ever have those horrible menopausal problems. Well, it's going to be years before any of that starts anyway.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I know it does feel like sometimes you're just giving too many things up, but no, bravo you, well done. Really, really proud of you. Really fantastic.
Thank you. And it's all thank you to you with your amazing science and able to give it to the whole wide world free of charge, basically.
Thank you.
And, you know, we as like HBDers followers can't actually thank you enough.
Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Would you like this question from Katrina? She says, are we allowed milk or nut milk in phase 3?
No, you cannot. You cannot. There's no milk, no dairy alternatives. It is no milk.
Yeah, black tea.
Black tea, black coffee, black all the way. And trust me, going from somebody who had milk and 2 sugars in her coffee every day, at least 10 times a day, if not more, I love a black coffee. And you, honestly, you cannot, it's just the best.
Amazing. Thank you, Casey. Somebody, menopause physio, try mum, says, I had the phase 2 ginger chicken stir fry last night, and this morning had really upset stomach. Really surprised. I'm surprised as well. I wonder if you have the ginger, if you maybe used to eat a lot of ginger and then you cut it out, because that could be something that you're reacting to. But I haven't heard anybody else. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't had that problem, but I'm not a huge fan of ginger.
Oh, you wouldn't, yeah.
So I probably wouldn't put it in. I don't mind grounded ginger, but you know, fresh ginger,
yeah.
A bit too tangy for me. I like more chili.
Because that's hot. HBD Audrey, please don't worry about the ginger chicken. I'm sure it was a one-off, but it would be interesting to hear if it was the first time that I'm so sorry, I've lost you. Menopause physio, the first time she'd had ginger in a while, maybe that was why.
Yeah, maybe that could be. It could be also if you've taken it out and then put it back in, your body's gone, whoa, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's kind of like we need to kind of reintroduce it little by little. Yep. Maybe lower the dose and lower the amount. Yeah. And you know, it might just be worth doing that rather than going full steam ahead.
Yeah.
And your body going, well, hang on a minute, we're not sure about this.
Exactly. So yeah, let your body calm down for a bit, and then I would say maybe try ginger again, but not for a couple of weeks, and see what happens.
Yeah, I would do the same, to be fair.
HB got a message for you, sweet. She says Cape are pure walnuts, but are in a factory with other nuts. And you know what? Cape seems to have vanished without a trace, which is really sad.
Yeah.
The activated walnuts were fantastic.
I can't comment on that one because I've never had them.
And Victoria's got an interesting question. She says, does activating the nuts remove the nut traces from other nuts? Don't know.
That's an interesting one.
It is an interesting.
I've caught up with you now on here.
What's it?
That's an interesting one. I wonder if that would do that. Because, you know, as you cook things like when you have chili or salt disappears when you cook it. So maybe it could have the same effect. I don't know. That would be something that we would have to ask someone.
Yeah, we need to do some investigating. Very good. Thank you. Katrina Powell says, I'm at the end of phase 2 and feel very exhausted and weak. Is this normal? Katie, what would you say to that? Did you have periods of feeling absolutely wrung out and exhausted?
Yeah. Yeah, my first 2 weeks were like hell and back. It was awful. The first 2 days I had a constant headache, felt really tired. I think if I remember rightly, the first day I put myself to bed at 7:30 in the evening because I was absolutely dying to eat something. And I was like, no, we're not giving it up. We're not chucking it in. We're going to keep going and stick it out. And it was the best thing I could do.
No.
But if you are tired, maybe just, I don't know, are you drinking enough water? Are you keeping yourself a bit occupied? Are you keeping yourself busy? Because I find that if I keep myself really busy, I actually keep it going and drink enough water. I think water is a big part of it.
Yeah. And it could be sometimes people are exhausted in phase 2 because they're doing too much. So they don't believe about the no exercise rule. No exercise other than walking, that is. So yeah,
you know, I struggled with that, to be fair, with the no exercise, because I was a right gym goer before I did this, and I used to go to the gym for 2 hours 3 or 4 times a week.
So what was it like when you stopped? I mean, what happened inside?
I was bored to start off with, because it was like, oh, okay, we can't go to the gym because I haven't got enough energy for it. You know, I was falling asleep. I mean, I am the queen at falling asleep anywhere at any time, but I was even worse when I first started. And so going to the gym was just not an option. So I started taking the dog out for extra walks in the day. Not that he needed enough, but going out in the morning first thing, and then going out at lunchtime, and then going out again in the evening. And sometimes I go out twice in the evening, but it just kept me busy. It stopped me from feeling like I needed to go to the gym.
And what kind of dog is it?
He's a cockapoo, and he's a little rascal. In January, it was my youngest's birthday, and I made him a donut cake because he's obsessed with Simpsons. He loves the Simpsons. And I went upstairs for 2 seconds and he ate half of the cake.
Oh, no. Oh, how maddening. I can imagine how much love and care and attention into that. How annoying.
Oh, I was so cross with him. I've never been so cross at the dog in my life, ever. In his whole entire life. He's 9 this year. And I thought, yeah, you little bugger.
Casey, I wanted to ask you said never give up.
Yeah.
Is that your personality for everything?
Yeah.
So once you decide you're going to, you see it through no matter what?
Yeah, my mum and dad always taught us never to give up as kids. You know, we always did sports, we always did something, and we always, you know, my dad's a really, really positive person. And I think it just rubs off on people if they're brought up that way. My dad's always like, you know, there's always something else to do. There's always, never give up, because winners never quit, and you're an Isaac and you got to keep going, and da 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 da. So that's the mentality we always grew up with. So I'm very like that with my own kids, stepson.
Yeah. Good.
And
also,
I mean, at the weekend, Harry he stopped over at his mama and granddad's house at the weekend, and it was Oliver's birthday last week, and so we had a big party, and they had lots of cakes, and Harry spent all day baking with his auntie on Friday for this party. And from the second we got there, he was eating the cakes, nom 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 nom, eat. And it was sugar, 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 sugar. He lived off sugar that day. And, you got to let them find their own selves. I picked him up the next day after I went for my, I call it dangling, but it's silks training. So like what people do in the circuses, I've been doing that as a hobby. And I went off and had my lesson. I come back and picked him up. And he got in the car and I went, oh, bloody hell, you look like you've had a rough time. Did you have a party last night? And he went, oh, Kate, I feel terrible. And I went, why? What did you do? And he went, I ate so many cakes. It's unreal. I went, yeah, I think you're coming down from the sugar load. I said, you really need to start thinking about what you're putting in your body, mate, because it's obviously not working for you, is it? And he went, no, I think you're right. So then on Monday, yesterday, he got up early. He come running downstairs. He was like, right, I'm ready to eat healthy. I want to eat what you eat. So I said, all right, okay, we can do that. So I had seeded bread. It was brown seeded bread from the baker's. And then he had some toast. He had 2 bits of toast. He had 2 eggs. He fried them himself. I was so proud of him.
Yeah.
Fried them himself in extra virgin olive oil. He mashed up half an avocado, salt and pepper, bit of chili flakes, put the avocado on his toast, and he put the eggs on it. And I don't know if you've seen the picture, Petronella, but he was so chuffed with himself. And I was so proud of him. I had to take a picture of him with his eggs and avocado on toast. And I thought, that's the stuff.
That is incredible. That is fabulous. And well done. Again, that's you. What a fabulous influence.
And he's 12.
Incredible. Just fantastic. Love that story. Really, really love it. That's the thing, people talk about kids having neophobia, which means they're frightened of trying things they haven't tried before. And when they're little, very often they won't touch this or that. And then they see their parents eating it 3 or 4 or 5 times and they're still alive. So then the theory goes, they decide to try it themselves.
Is that all okay? It must be all right.
It must be all right, yeah. Oh, Katie, that is such a lovely story, and bless him. And he's very young to be making that kind of decision about, he'll have his moments when he says, sod it, I'll have the sugar.
Yeah.
But, really amazing.
But the older one started months before. I made a bet with him. I said, come on, let's try it. Give it a try. And he said, what? I said, come on, have no sugar in your tea and coffee or on your cereals for a month and see how you get on. And he come home one week and he said, oh, do you know what, Kate? I've got something to tell you. And I went, what's that, mate? He said, Mum made me a cup of tea with sugar in it and it was bloody awful. It was bloody awful. Couldn't drink it. It. Just did it for me. And I was like, well, there you go. You're listening to your body. I don't need to do any more.
No, that's fantastic. And they'll be telling their friends, oh, mate, I feel so much when I don't eat sugar. And it will just, blossom outwards, which is so exciting. Thanks to you and thanks to your dad. They're very lucky kids.
Yeah, it's Sam follows it as well. He's lost a lot of weight. And so we're all on the next phase to get to the wedding and stay trim and be healthy and have glowing skin and just be happy.
Well, seems to me you tick all those boxes, Katie. Yeah, you really do. There's a message here from Hagen. I'm starting phase 3 on Sunday, but nervous I might put weight back on from the treat meal. So the number one thing is, I don't know if you do this, Katie, but don't weigh yourself the next day, the day after a treat meal.
Yeah.
Because chances are you'll be holding on to water, and that's very depressing. You get on the scales full of hope and the scales have gone up. And really focus on fats. So butter, all the things I always talk about, hollandaise, mayonnaise, béarnaise, all those things, rather than carbohydrates. So that doesn't mean don't have chips or whatever you're hankering after. Do, but really have a lot of extra fat at the same time. And one other thing is, if you know that you've been a victim of the sugar monster and you never thought you could get out of its clutches, don't have sugar the first treat meal. Just, have whatever instead. Do you remember, Katie, your first treat meal and what you probably long time?
I do remember it. It was awful. And I hadn't been doing it for that long, and probably not long enough to have had too many treat meals before it. So when I had my treat meal, we went to Herefordshire for Sam's birthday, and we went to Nando's. I think I remember telling you, Petronella, actually.
You did.
And went to Nando's. Of course, you have the pita bread, and you've got sauce in there, you've got everything you could possibly think of. And I really didn't think two and two about it, because I really didn't think that was going to affect me as bad as it did. And within 20 minutes, again, stomach blew up like I was 6 months pregnant, and boom, there we went. Couldn't. And we all know how Gigi likes to talk about the old going to the toilet. Yeah, it was a problem through the night. And the next day I felt much better, because I drank all water all the way through the night. I was up and down, up and down, up and down. But, if you really do suffer with IBS, it's either you can't stop going or you cannot go. And either of the two is not nice.
Nice at all. So you took your kind of take home message from that was it the bread, or was it the mixture of things, or was it, do you think the rank oil they might use? What do you think? That's probably the bread, pita bread.
I think it could have been the pita bread and perhaps the sauce.
Yeah. So
I don't really know what it is, because I haven't actually had Nando's since.
I'm not surprised.
It was a traumatic experience, shall we say. It wasn't very nice. And I used to love Nando's as well.
Yeah. Type 1D HBD, who is type 1 diabetic, who's doing really well and posts amazing informative things. There's that walnuts are another Achilles heel for me, she says. I can't stop eating them once I start. It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it could be, I don't know, Twix bars or something.
Yeah.
No, Cassie, lots of people are answering the question about energy. And Cassie, that's HBD Menno, Cassie says, happened to me, got my HBD energy boost in phase 3. So it just takes some of us longer than others. We all react differently to these kind of changes. So as Katie says, don't give up, stick with it. Keep checking in here to read people's amazing stories and see the transformations, and not, as we know, just the scale victories, but the non-scale victories, the feeling of elation and energy and better and clear, glowing skin. And,
sorry, Petronella, I do find though, if you're eating the same food over and over again and not consistently changing it to suit your microbiomes, that also can make you really tired and feel lethargic.
Yeah.
So you really do need to swap your food up in order for it to stay either consistent for feeling energetic, or feeling consistently losing weight. I found that I got myself in a rut for the first 3 months, and I'm now finding that 1 week I'll be having more of this, perhaps next week I'll have that, or today I'm going to have this and tomorrow I'm going to have that. It is really about prepping your food and sort of going, oh, this is what I've got in the fridge and this is what I'm going to have X, Y, Z day. And perhaps I'll make a little bit extra and have it on this day. So in terms of energy, I find that if you are swapping up your food, you will find your energy will go up or down depending on what you're eating.
That's really interesting, Katie. And do you keep a food diary so that you can keep tabs on, how many different vegetables you've had in a week? Or do you just know it's in your head?
My food diary is on my Instagram. I post my food 3 times a day if I'm having breakfast. But because I'm in phase 4, I only have lunch and dinner because I got to a point where I just wasn't feeling hungry enough. I stop eating from roughly around 7:30, 8 o'clock latest, and I don't eat until 1 o'clock in the afternoon next day.
That's really good. And you feel good. You have good energy in the morning and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just not feeling it. I get up and I think, oh, I'm not sure if I'm hungry. So I'll drink my water and then I'll drink another glass of water and then I'll have 1 or 2 black coffees and then I'm good to go until lunchtime.
That's great. That's really great. And very good point you just made there. So if the idea of keeping a food diary is not appealing to you and it sounds like a faff, take pictures, and like Katie does, that's a really good way of keeping record and keeping you on track and also helping other people who might not have thought about eating, I don't know, pureed cauliflower or whatever it is. So thanks for that, Katie. That's a good tip. Preston Life HBD says Katie has in preparing a mango and thinking of you.
Oh, yes, Jane. She was a diamond because I bought a mango. Oh, it was ages ago now. But I bought a mango and I couldn't. I was trying to cut it open, but I couldn't seem to work it. It was like, how am I going to get that into the bowl? And I kept seeing that Jane had posted lots of mango photos. So I sent her a message saying, how do you get your mango in your bowl? This might seem like a really silly question, but I can't figure it out. And so she sent me this long message of how to do it. And I was like, I have no idea what you're on about. So she said, send me your phone number. I'll record myself, like video myself, and I'll send it to you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then she sent me it and I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
That was so sweet of her.
That's my blonde moment. I always call myself a Malteser. I'm brown on the outside, but I'm really blonde on the inside.
That's so sweet. Oh, bless. It's incredible. It is the most amazing gang, isn't it? The HBD Love Gang. I mean, just incredible. There's always help with something.
Yeah, HBD community, you can't thank it enough. I mean, it's so amazing how women and men, because there are men in the community that just come together and it is just one big family.
It really,
and I love it.
Fabulous. Really fabulous. Have you got anything else you'd like to share, Katie? Anything that was difficult when you first started? And I know you said you kept yourself busy. That really helped. And you kept dragging the dog out for extra walks and that helped. Probably helped him too.
Yeah, I struggled with the picking. I was a grazer before. So I used to pick up food. I've got a Home Bargains literally round the corner. And I used to go in there for a bit of a chocolate fix because I was a bit of I have a sugar monster that's still very much alive.
Yeah.
And I have to kick it down every now and again because, I don't want it to creep back in. And I used to go around there and get some chocolate if I was feeling hungry before doing HBD. And it was just terrible. I was always eating crisps or biscuits. I was a bugger for biscuits. I mean, I told you a story about when I used to go to my nanny's house at the weekend. We would have ginger biscuits and a cup of tea in bed. So, yeah, I've gone from a really hyped up sugar monster loving food that just craved it all the time. And even more so when it comes to my monthly. But that's not as bad now.
Good.
But, I don't crave it as much. You do learn to let go of it. It's about letting go of things that you used to have. And find new love.
Reminding ourselves that they don't actually make us feel good. I mean, sugar face is a thing, isn't it? You can really tell when somebody eats a lot of sugar. There's kind of grey, pallor, puffiness, and we don't want that. We want the glow.
Yeah, and you know what I've also noticed, like since not having sugar on a daily basis or weekly basis or whatever, it's only ever if I really fancy it that I'll have that. But my tongue isn't a funny colour anymore.
No, that's fair enough. A couple of
That sounds really
questions
strange.
on the forum. Helen says, "Is there a help group for when you need it?" This is it, hon. You have
Yeah.
found the HBD gang. Yeah, think about getting yourself an HBD name because that helps to identify you, and also making your account public so that it's easy for people to repost your posts and join in the lives and meet other people, to get a conversation going. And yeah, lots of people have made really good friends in the HBD gang. Kerry in Worcestershire says, "Is it best to eat my daily apple raw or is it okay to cook?" Personally, I think there's nothing like a raw apple full of enzymes and everything else. But yes, you can cook it if that's the only way you can eat it. But my preference would always be for raw. And I put mine in a mini blender, which kind of grates it and mix it up with the seeds, and it's delicious. And even if you're not mixing with the seeds, if you're having it as a dessert, just a grated apple is a real treat. Really nice. Or, whizzed up in the food processor. Katie, you're a superstar. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's
Thank you.
see. Thank you. And yeah, let's keep talking. Really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always talk about your feelings. Keep it going. Keeping it warm.
Bless you. You're a darling. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks.
No, thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Mate. Take care. See you soon. We'll talk soon.
Yes, see you soon, darling. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.